Hello Leuven, good afternoon. You're sitting here listening to a psychologist by education, studied in Leuven more than 20 years ago. And the good news is you're sitting in a dark room listening to a psychologist telling you about the future. And that means that you are optimists. And good news is that optimists, believe me, will live 7 years longer than pessimists, which is not so good news for the 700 not allowed to come in this room. They will not live 7 years longer than the pessimists. It gets better news even for the women in this room. You know, you live 4.5 years longer than, well, the weasels next to you and in front of you. So if you are a woman in this room and optimist, you will live 11.5 years longer than a pessimist male. And the best news I have, well, this is Limburg. This is where I come from. E se non è vero è ben trovato, of course. This is not Limburg, this is Tuscany. If you're from Limburg, we know by science that Limburgians live 1 year longer than the people from the 9 other Belgian provinces. So if you're a woman from Limburg in this room listening to a psychologist talking about the future, you will live 12.5 years longer than a pessimist male from, let's say, Blankenberge. So I brought my wife today, that's her. Well, it could be my wife. My wife is more beautiful than this. This is Juliette. This is the sister of Jules. This is the robot. Now, this is Aphrodite. She's the cover girl of my latest book, Sub Rosa called. I'm not going to talk about Sub Rosa today because I've only 13 minutes and 25 seconds left and I've nothing said until now. Sub Rosa means that the future is under the rose. The future is not clear yet. And the thing is that you have to make your future yourself. It's very easy. You have to be an optimist to create the future. The best way to predict the future is to invent it. That is the story of today. I believe it solely. An optimist will create the future. A pessimist will go sitting in the corner waiting until the future passes by. And that is not the good thing to do. So this is Rosa, Herman Konings is my name and my Twitter address is Sub Rosa. Let's talk about some things. First to talk about is the age of Gubu, indeed, Peter. The age of Gubu, l'époque de GB, het tijdperk van Gobo. What is in God's name Gubu? Well, Gubu means the grotesque, the unprecedented, the bizarre and the unpredicted. Gobo, het groteske, het onvoorstelbare, het bizarre en het onvoorstelbare. GB, le grotesque, l'imprévu, le bizarre et l'inconnu. And why is that? It is because we are today on the 29th of March 2012, nearly 13 years after the beginning of the 21st century. We are on this day, witnessing worldwide more scientists working on the future, making the future, than there have been scientists alive since the beginning of this planet and the year 2000 after Christ. Are you following me? All the dead scientists up to the year 1999 after Christ combined, counted, you have a smaller number than the number of scientists working on the face of this planet at this time. But where are they? Are they here in Leuven? Are they in Limburg? No, no, no. They are working all around the planet. In first instance, the so-called BRICS and next 11 countries. BRIC is an old-fashioned term. Brazil, Russia, India, China. Yeah, right. It's now BRICS and the next 11. Brazil, Russia, India, Indonesia, China, South Africa, South Korea, Turkey, Malaysia, Sri Lanka, Mexico, Argentina. Argentina, 5 years ago, Argentina was nearly bankrupt, a little bit like Greece in Europe these days. 5 years ago, and now it's an economic powerful nation. Today, all these BRICS and the next 11 countries are economic powers. And what they create is beautiful. They have a lot of money, and the money is invested in research, in education and development. Research, education, development. And they create the future. What they make is unbelievable, it's grotesque, it's bizarre and unpredicted. And you say sometimes over my dead body that this kind of invention I will use. Robots, no way, over my dead body. Look at 2000. In Belgium, 32%. In 2000, the first year of the 21st century, 32% of Belgians, of Western European consumers, used at that time a mobile phone. 1 in 3 in the first year of the 21st century. And the 2/3 not using a mobile phone were polled in 2000. Were women, people older than 50 years of age, and people from the lower and middle social classes. And they were surveyed and were asked, will you use a mobile phone in the future, madam? And the answer was very clear. Over my dead body, young guy. If something I won't use in the future, is it a mobile phone? I'm living in the most densely populated area in the world, Belgium, next to Holland, Vatican City and Bangladesh. And if I want something, I ask my colleague, my mother, my neighbor, and immediately I get an answer to my question. So a GSM is for gadget freaks, it's for geeks, it's for entrepreneurs and managers, it's for people living in remote societies. In Finland or New Zealand. It's for Italians who love to have something in their hands, but not for a woman from Erbs, over my dead body. Well, I'm going to show you some Gubu examples, and believe me, this will be the future. This is grotesque, unprecedented, bizarre, and unpredicted. This will be built in 2016 in Dubai. What you see is an artificial cloud, not where the rain is pouring out. What you see here is 300-meter high metal poles, pillars. Inside these poles, you'll find elevators bringing the people from the soul, from the base, the ground of Dubai, 300 meters higher in that cloud. In that cloud, you'll find a 5-star all-inclusive hotel resort named The Cloud. And you'll say today, over my dead body, but believe me, within 5 years, you will be packed at Brussels South, taking your Ryanair Dubai to go for a week in The Cloud. And otherwise, we know Philips is working on a food printer. Later on, you'll be hearing about 3D printing. If you combine the ideas of 3D printing with the ideas of molecular gastronomy, you'll have a food printer. This is the version of Philips, and this is the version of their competitor Electrolux. And you'll say today, well, no, I'm not going to use that. What you do is you buy this in 2016, believe me, at MediaMarkt or Van den Borre or Krevel. You'll buy it, you put it on your kitchen table next to your George Clooney 2.0, and you'll buy at your local supermarket a vegetable comprimed cartridge. And you put the cartridge in that device, and you'll print layer by layer your food. And I hear you think, over my dead body, but be aware that within 4 or 5 years you will buy this for your mother for her Mother's Day. And you will love it. And otherwise, this is the last example of Gubu. This is Gilpin family whiskey. Gilpin family whiskey is whiskey made by craftsmanship. What you see here are the 3 last stages of fermentation of redundant sugars out of the urine of diabetic 1 patients. I repeat that. I only have 6 minutes and 35 seconds, but I repeat. These are the last 3 stages out of fermentation out of the redundant sugars, out of the urine of diabetic 1 patients. And it is softly, smooth-tasting, lovely whiskey. And you think by yourself, over my dead body, that I will use this. Well, this is my sentiment also today. But scientifically, this is possible. Well, we call it at our office not whiskey, but pisky, if you know what I mean. So this is happening today. These are Gubu phenomena. But what we see here, and I hope the clicker works, it does, okay. This was Gubu 5 years ago. Well, this is an expanded iPhone or smartphone. We have too much applications on our smartphones these days. We have a problem with information overload. This is interesting. The future is about information overload. It's not about information overload only. We have too little time and too much options to choose. We have 4 times more options to choose in a supermarket today than 20 years ago. And we've lost 7 minutes of, but not 7 minutes, we lost 7 hours per week of free spendable time in 20 years' time. An active Belgian has now 7 hours per week less free spendable time compared to an active Belgian in 1987, 25 years ago. 7 hours a week less, 4 times more options to choose. It leads to information overload, or to circuit overload, like it is called by a scholar from Oxford in 1621 already. The term is already 400 years known. Circuit overload, kortsluiting, information overload, too much options to choose out. It leads to option paralysis. This is a new acclaimed psychological mental disorder. It is in manuals these days. In the 21st century, people getting hyperventilating after seeing too much options and having no time to choose out. It's not option paralysis, it's not information overload, it is just filter failure, some psychologists say. It's a question of conditioning the filter. The Dutch have a beautiful expression, option paralysis in Dutch is kiespijn. Well, this is interesting, of course. So you see more and more mental disorders. Phantom vibration is the latest one. Colleagues I'm a psychologist from the University of Worcester, are coining phantom vibration. What is it? 2 months ago, published. No kidding. Phantom vibration is feeling that your phone is vibrating without having a phone in your pocket. It can be, of course, another device that vibrates at the time, but I don't think so. People are conditioned. Too much options. We are conditioned by the vibrating system called the GSM. And this is what we need. We need choice architecture. We need to go to the essence, to the basics. Not back to basics, but forward to basics. We need the O, 1, 2, 3. O means no manual. 1 means 1 button to start. 2 means 2 choices, 2 options to choose out. To left or the right. Not 17 choices at the same time, 2 choices. To the left, to the right, and then you can re-choice again. And 3 means 3 seconds to have your problem solved. 3 seconds to have your answer for your question. O, 1, 2, 3. This is the technology of tomorrow. Look at what Samsung has made. Well, this is 0123. These are no manual, these are 2 manuals. This is the first manual to assemble your smartphone, page by page, 0123. It is easy. And this is the future, using technology and escaping technology at the same time, using a traditional printed book. And then of course, you have to understand the smartphone. There is a second manual. You put your smartphone in this spare part, and then you follow the pages, page by page. You follow the digits, and it will explain to you how to use it. 0, 1, 2, 3. This is forward to basics. This is using the old stuff combined with the new stuff. Technology of the future combined with what is typical for humans, what makes us assuring that we are humans after all. Forward to basics, not back to basics. We use technology, we'll use robots, of course, but also men and womankind emotions combined. Forward to basics. This is forward to basics, in my opinion. This is a tablet computer combined with a traditional typewriter. It has the feel of the past and absolutely the future combined. So only 1 minute 30 seconds left. Let's make 2 minutes 30 seconds for the same price. I think going to the next, the digital diet. We have to go on a digital diet. People are talking about the Steve Jobs school, with a ridiculous idea. Only working with your tablet computers from your 5th or 4th year off. We have to be humans, not only using tablet technology, but using technology, of course, from tablets. But at the same time, we have to go on a digital diet from then to then. This is working. This was a beautiful example last year. Buitengewoon in het land. Outstanding in the field. Coming from America. Last year in Holland. 22 editions of a log-off event. People logged off their computers and smartphones, having 150 people on 1 wooden table, 150 wooden chairs. talking to each other, not with technology, but without technology. Not in a hot spot, but in a cold spot. The log-off social networking idea. This is not social networking, it's social networking. It worked. 22 editions directly sold out last year in July and August in Holland. It rained, like you know. It poured, but no one left the tables. This is what we need from time to time. This is also happening in Antwerp. Since the start, since the beginning of the beautiful Starbucks in Antwerp, everyone was looking for Starbucks. People were absolutely wanting their Starbucks in the Grand Central Station in Antwerp. Since the moment Starbucks came to Antwerp, we saw the rise of 15 third-wave coffee houses, where young people are serving slow coffee, craftsmanship in a vintage decorum. They play their records, vinyl records, on the turning tables of their fathers. This is working. A lot of people are coming to this third-wave coffee house. So you see the sentiments against technology, against digitalization, against standardization, and against globalization. That doesn't mean that we don't like globalization, digitalization, standardization, but we want to go on a digital diet from time to time. We want to have the balance. So I'm now starting to end referring to what I said in the beginning of my presentation. This is Ruben. He has absolutely tattooed on his chest the word optimist. He knows that he will live 7 years longer than his brother, who is a pessimist. That he knows. He has also glasses, so he will live 2 years less long than that. But anyway, I'm absolutely terminating my presentation with a beautiful saying by Marshall McLuhan. He said, beautiful phrase, the story continues once the book closes. My book closes, your story starts to continue right away. Thank you for your attention.